Hello Pat. My name's Rebecca Burt. I'm a research nurse in palliative and supportive care, and today I've come to talk to you about your husband, Norman, who was cared for at St Richard's Hospice and was a participant in a research study there, just to find out what your experience was of that.
Okay, fine, yes.
Pat, can you tell me how Norman came to be at St Richard's Hospice?
Well, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the October, but he chose not to go for the chemo and stayed at home until he reached a point where pain management was of concern.
Okay.
So he was moved to St Richard's in order for them to monitor the pain control, and that was how we came to be here.
Okay. And can you remember how the idea of a research study was introduced to you both?
Yes, Nikki came and talked to us about that, especially obviously my husband, and he was most anxious to take part in any kind of research that would assist people that were going to come on behind him. So it was fully explained by Nikki, and he was most keen to take part.
And Nikki is the doctor at the hospice.
She
that's
is,
right.
yes.
And did you think that research was an activity that was undertaken in hospices?
I wasn't aware of it at the time, and I'm sure Norman wasn't either, but it still made us keen to take part.
Were you surprised to be approached about a research study in hospice?
No, not really, no.
Can you remember much about what the study was trying to achieve?
Yes, as far as I can recall, it was with regards to the hydration of a patient in the latter stages of their journey, and what effect, if any, it had, etc. But as I said, it was all very carefully explained to us, so we were just anxious to help others.
And were you given specific information about the study other than talking it through with Nikki, the doctor? Do you remember receiving information to look at and read?
Yes, we were. We were given the information, yes.
Yeah. And did you discuss taking part in the study with anyone else?
Only our immediate family,
Okay.
our son and daughter.
And they were?
Quite happy.
Okay. Research is voluntary.
Yes.
And we would very much like people to feel happy to refuse to partake in a research study, if that's what they chose to do. Would you have felt comfortable about refusing to take part, do you think?
Oh yes, there was no pressure put on us at all, not at all, so absolutely, yeah. No problem.
And did you feel fully aware of the fact that you could have withdrawn from the study at a later date?
Yes, absolutely, yes. Yeah. We were actually told if Norman showed any sign of distress or discomfort, or we weren't happy as a family as to how things were shaping up, it was made quite clear that we could change our minds at any time. So, yes, completely.
Okay. Can I ask you who actually consented to go into the study? I asked that question because this particular study allowed for the fact that some people would not be able to consent themselves because they would possibly be unconscious.
Yes.
Was it Norman that consented to go into the study?
Yes,
Okay.
it was.
And you said previously that it was something that you were both keen to do even before you come into the hospice.
That's right, yes.
Was research something specifically that you discussed together before?
Well, yes, and Norman particularly was very keen, always very, very keen to help other people, and as a consequence he was most keen to take part in anything that would have benefited people that followed him. I'm sure had he not have had his ailment, he would have been one of these people that would have donated his body for eyes and lungs and things. But as it was, things turned out differently, but he was still most keen to follow what he always believed in.
Okay. If Norman hadn't been able say for
Yes.
himself. I'm guessing you would have felt comfortable to have done that on his behalf.
Because we'd already discussed it.
Yes, that's okay. During the study, there's a certain amount of data that had to be collected for the study.
Yes.
And I wonder if you were aware of that happening around you, or if you were even involved in any of that, if anyone asked you questions about how much Norman had to drink, or questions about any distress that he might be feeling.
No, wasn't aware of that side of it, but by the time Norman had sort of become semi-conscious, shall we say, I was aware of the moistening of the mouth and inside the mouth and the lips and so forth, which I used to do because I was with him all the time. And if I did go to sleep during the night, I was aware of the nurses coming in and doing the same thing. So I knew that was going on, but I didn't know that it was being recorded in any way.
Okay, because here at St Richard's, as part of the study, normal care for the study was not to put up an intravenous infusion.
That's right, yes.
Unless it was necessary.
Yes, I realise that.
There are some people, Pat, who feel that it might be insensitive to ask people in an end-of-life situation to become involved in research, partly because they want to care for people and they don't want to upset them and cause them any distress. And sometimes that can be a barrier to recruiting patients into end-of-life studies. I just wonder how you feel about that as an idea.
Well, I can only speak from my own experience. I obviously can't answer for other people. Everyone is individual. But I think personally here at the hospice there is so much care and attention to all the patients that I can't believe that any approach to people who are aware of the end of life of their loved one feeling that it is insensitive, because you're surrounded by comfort and love the whole of the time you're in here. So I really can't believe that would be an issue on my own. As I said, for myself. I'm not sure about other people, but I can't see it.
Okay. Can you tell me what positives you've drawn from taking part in the research study and from Norman?
I just hope that it will help people that come along behind him, and so that the people here have got that knowledge that if we do X or Y or Z, this happens, that doesn't happen. The positive for me is the fact that other people may benefit from the study that Norman took part in.
Yes. And would you say there are any negative elements at all to taking part in the research
None
study?
whatsoever. I feel that the safety net most definitely is the fact that you can withdraw from the process at any time your loved one shows any sign of distress or upset. And I do feel that is a sort of a safety net, that if you're not happy you can say, look, please can we do X, Y, Z. I also think, and I assume, that this is only in palliative care as against in a hospital environment. Are we just talking about a hospice as against a hospital?
Being able to withdraw, you mean? No, that cuts across the whole research.
thing.
So for any research study, anyone has the right to withdraw at any point.
Right.
Anywhere.
That's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. How would you feel about being informed about the results of the study?
I think I would like to see the results. You'd like to find out whether it was of benefit or maybe not, so that it wasn't sort of wasted.
Yes.
And I'd like to feel that it's sort of some kind of legacy that my husband has been able to leave behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you like to see more information about research in hospices, do you think?
If I can be of any help in any way, then most definitely.
And can I ask you why you'd encourage other people to take part in hospice research?
Because it's for the good of other people. When you're in this situation, I think we'll all have benefited from the research that's gone before us. feel that perhaps as we move in, then we ought to be prepared to take part in it for the good of other people who are following on.
That's lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.